All right, so today we're gonna try to dive deep into the world of Matt Smith.
Okay.
And he's an actor who I think has a fascinating ability to completely transform himself on screen.
Right.
So you probably know him best as the 11th Doctor from Doctor Who,
Hmm.
but we are going way beyond that today.
Yeah.
We've got this great biography,
Okay.
and his journey to stardom
Right.
is anything but typical.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not the classic like drama school to Hollywood story you often hear.
Right.
What's really striking is how his early life could have gone in a totally different direction.
Yeah, imagine being this kid, like completely focused on becoming a professional footballer.
Yeah.
And then bam, serious back injury at just 16 years old changes everything.
Wow.
Like the universe had other plans for him.
Like a plot twist in one of his films.
Yeah.
Instead of taking the field, he ends up being encouraged by his drama teacher, Jerry Hardingham, to try out acting.
Oh, wow.
And the interesting thing is even Matt himself didn't seem to recognize his potential at that point.
Mm.
It was others who saw the spark first.
It's almost like he needed that push, like that
Yeah.
external validation to even consider acting as a possibility.
Totally.
And that's a pattern we see pop up again later in his career, which is pretty fascinating.
Absolutely. It makes you wonder, would he have ever found his way to acting without those key individuals who recognized his talent?
Right.
It's a real testament to the power of mentors and their influence on our paths.
Totally. So he dips his toes into the world of theater.
Yeah.
Starts studying drama at university and lands some early roles.
Mm-hmm.
But then comes this huge moment at 26. He becomes the youngest actor ever to play the Doctor in Doctor Who.
Wow.
That's a role with a massive legacy and some seriously devoted fans.
Yeah, casting someone that young for such an iconic role was a huge gamble by the show's producers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this is a character who's been around for decades, and each Doctor brings something unique to the table.
Right.
There was definitely skepticism from some fans initially.
I bet.
Was he up to the task? Could he handle the pressure?
You've got to wonder what was going through his head at the time.
Oh, for sure.
But what's remarkable is how he silenced those doubts almost immediately.
Yeah.
He didn't try to imitate previous Doctors. He brought this fresh energy, this almost manic intensity that was all his own.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a good performance, it revitalized the whole show.
I think what really resonated with audiences was his ability to balance that youthful energy with a sense of wisdom and experience that seemed beyond his years. He brought this depth to the Doctor, making him feel both ancient and completely contemporary at the same time.
Right.
It's no wonder he earned a BAFTA nomination for his work.
Exactly. It's not just about delivering lines, it's about capturing the essence of that character, and he nailed it.
He did.
Now, we don't want to get lost in the whole Doctor Who universe,
Right.
but this role catapulted him into global fame.
Yeah.
Suddenly, he's a household name recognized everywhere he goes.
It's interesting how certain roles can define an actor's career, even if they go on to do many other things. For many, Matt Smith will always be the 11th Doctor. And that's a powerful legacy to carry.
And after Doctor Who, he could have easily stuck with similar roles, maybe even try to capitalize on that sci-fi fame.
Sure.
But what's interesting is that he seems to make a conscious choice to go in a totally different direction.
Okay.
He jumps into the Terminator franchise with Terminator Genesis, a big budget action film.
Interesting.
So that decision to join Terminator really speaks to his willingness to take risks and not be pigeonholed into a specific genre.
Absolutely.
He could have played it safe,
Right.
but instead he chose to challenge himself and see if he could hold his own in a completely different kind of film.
Mhm.
And it's worth noting that Terminator Genesis didn't get the same critical acclaim as some of his other work. It wasn't a flop by any means,
Right.
but it definitely wasn't a home run either.
I see.
So what do you make of that choice in the context of his career?
It's a great example of how an actor's career isn't always a straight line to success. There are going to be projects that work brilliantly and others that fall short of expectations.
Right.
What's important, I think, is that Matt Smith seems to prioritize the creative challenge over simply chasing fame or box office numbers.
And this brings us to a project that really showcases his versatility, the American Psycho musical.
Oh, wow.
Now we're talking about a dark, disturbing character, Patrick Bateman,
Okay.
brought to life on stage.
All right.
Could he pull it off?
Oh, absolutely. This is where we see Matt Smith really sink his teeth into a complex role.
Okay.
He's not just playing a charming hero.
Yep.
He's embodying a deeply disturbed individual, someone who is both charismatic and utterly terrifying.
Wow.
And the critics loved it. The acclaim he received for that performance proved he could handle dramatic intensity and psychological complexity.
Talk about a 180 from the Doctor.
Right.
It seems like he's deliberately choosing roles that push him in different directions, almost like he's testing his own limits as an actor.
It's a sign of artistic ambition, for sure. He's not content to stay in one lane. He wants to explore every avenue, every genre, and see what he's capable of.
Right.
And that's what makes him such a fascinating subject for this deep dive.
Yeah.
He keeps us guessing, and that's part of his appeal.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we've seen Matt Smith tackle sci-fi action, even a dark musical thriller.
Right.
But up next is a role that really threw people for a loop, Prince Philip in The Crown.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Netflix series about the British royal family, and honestly, on paper, this casting seemed like a total wild card.
What do you think?
It's a brilliant example of how casting against type can completely change our perception of both the actor and the character. We tend to have these fixed ideas about Prince Philip, this stern, stoic figure standing beside the Queen.
Yeah.
But Matt Smith brings a completely different dimension to the role.
It's like he found the human side of a figure who's often portrayed as quite formal and reserved.
You see the wit, the charm, but also the frustrations and struggles of a man navigating a very unique and demanding role within the royal family.
And it's not just about personality. It's about the historical context. Remember, this is a man who had to give up his naval career, his title, his very name to marry the future queen.
Wow.
There's a lot of sacrifice and internal conflict there.
Oh.
And Matt Smith manages to convey all of that with incredible subtlety.
And the critics noticed.
Yeah.
He earned an Emmy nomination for his performance.
Wow.
Which is a huge accomplishment in a very competitive category.
Absolutely.
What's fascinating is how he seamlessly transitions from playing a Time Lord to a real-life historical figure, both with incredible success.
It speaks to his ability to not just play characters, but to truly inhabit them.
Right.
He does his research. He understands the nuances of the period, the social dynamics, the emotional complexities.
Yeah.
It's not about imitation. It's about embodying the essence of the person he's portraying.
So thinking about all the roles we've discussed, what do you think is the common thread that connects them?
Okay.
What is it about Matt Smith's approach to acting that allows him to take on such diverse characters and make them all feel authentic?
One thing that stands out to me is his commitment to finding the humanity within each role, no matter how extraordinary or even unlikable the character might be. Whether it's the Dr. Patrick Bateman or Prince Philip, he finds those moments of vulnerability, those glimpses of doubt or fear that make them relatable to us as viewers.
It's like he's reminding us that even the most famous, powerful, or even fictional characters are still human at their core.
Exactly.
They have flaws, they make mistakes, they struggle with the same emotions we all do.
And it's through those imperfections that we connect with them on a deeper level.
Right.
We see ourselves reflected in their struggles, their triumphs, and their failures. It's what makes them feel real, even when they exist in fantastical worlds or historical settings.
Now, we've been focusing a lot on his professional life, but there's another aspect of Matt Smith that I find intriguing: his personal life. He's notoriously private, rarely gives interviews, and keeps his relationships out of the spotlight.
Right.
What do you make of this deliberate choice to maintain a level of mystery?
In an age where celebrities often feel pressured to share every detail of their lives on social media, Matt Smith's decision to keep things private is actually quite refreshing.
Yeah.
It allows the work to speak for itself, and it adds a layer of intrigue to his persona.
It's like he's saying, judge me on my performances, not on who I'm dating or what I had for breakfast.
Exactly.
And in a way that makes him even more fascinating.
It sparks curiosity.
Yeah.
We get these glimpses into his personality through interviews and behind-the-scenes footage.
Right.
But there's still a sense of mystery. It allows the audience to fill in the blanks, to create their own narratives about who he is off-screen.
So we've got this incredibly talented actor who's taken on some iconic roles, defied expectations, and even earned prestigious awards. But he's also managed to maintain a sense of privacy and control over his public image. It's a rare combination in today's entertainment world.
And it makes it even more difficult to predict what he'll do next.
Right.
Will he continue to surprise us with unexpected roles?
Right.
Will he delve deeper into a particular genre? Or will he disappear from the spotlight for a while and then reemerge with something completely different?
That unpredictability is part of what keeps people talking about him.
Absolutely.
He's not afraid to take risks, to step outside of his comfort zone, and to challenge himself as an actor.
Right.
And that's what makes him such a compelling subject for a deep dive.
Yeah.
He's more than just a talented performer. He's an enigma, a constantly evolving artist who keeps us guessing.
I agree.
We've covered a lot of ground, I think, with Matt Smith so far.
Yeah.
From his early days on the football pitch
Right.
to that breakout role as the Doctor,
Yeah.
even that surprising turn as Prince Philip.
Absolutely.
But there's one area we haven't really explored yet, and that's his work in film.
Okay.
And believe me, it's just as diverse and unpredictable as the rest of his career.
What I find fascinating about his filmography is that it doesn't fit neatly into any specific category.
Right.
He's done big-budget blockbusters like Terminator Genesis, indie darlings like Lost River,
Yeah.
and historical dramas like The King's Daughter.
Wow.
It's clear he's not afraid to experiment with different genres and push himself as an actor.
It's almost like he's intentionally avoiding being typecast.
Yeah.
He could have easily capitalized on his Doctor Who fame by just taking on a string of sci-fi roles.
Right.
But instead, he's chosen to explore a wide range of characters and stories.
And that willingness to take risks is what makes him so exciting to watch.
Yeah.
You never know what he's going to do next, and that unpredictability keeps audiences engaged and intrigued.
Let's talk about Terminator Genesis for a moment.
Okay.
It was a big gamble for him to join such a well-established franchise, especially considering the mixed reception of the previous film.
Right.
What do you think motivated him to take on that role?
I think it was a combination of factors.
Okay.
First, it was an opportunity to work with a renowned director and be part of a major action film.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of challenge than playing a complex character in an indie drama.
Right.
And second, I think he saw it as a chance to explore a different side of himself as an actor.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to push his own boundaries and see what he's capable of.
And it's worth noting that Terminator Genesis, while not a critical darling, was a commercial success.
It was.
It proved that he could hold his own in a big-budget action film and appeal to a wider audience.
Exactly.
But what's interesting is that he didn't let that success define him.
Right.
He didn't try to become the next action hero.
Yeah.
Instead, he went back to doing smaller, more character-driven films like Lost River,
Oh, yeah.
where he plays this mysterious drifter who guides a young man through a surreal and dangerous underworld.
Interesting.
It's almost like he's constantly seeking out roles that will challenge him in new ways.
Absolutely.
He's not content to rest on his laurels or repeat himself.
And that's what separates him from many actors of his generation.
Yeah.
He's not driven by ego or the pursuit of fame. He's driven by a genuine passion for acting and a desire to explore the full range of human experience through his characters.
His role in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is another great example of that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a genre-bending film
Right.
that combines a classic literary tale with zombie horror. It
Interesting.
could have easily been a disaster.
It could have.
But he manages to find the humor and the heart in the character of Mr. Collins, even amidst all the chaos and bloodshed.
It's a testament to his ability to commit fully to a role. No matter how outlandish or unconventional it might seem,
Right.
he finds the truth in the character, even when the circumstances are absurd.
Looking at his filmography, it's clear that he's attracted to stories that are unique, unexpected, and even a little bit strange.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to take risks
Right.
or to choose projects that might not appeal to everyone.
And that's what makes him such a compelling figure. He's not trying to please everyone or fit into a mold.
Right.
He's following his own artistic instincts and forging his own path.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Matt Smith, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
We've seen his incredible range, his willingness to take risks, his dedication to finding the truth in every character he plays. But what's truly remarkable is that he's still early in his career.
He is.
He has so much more to explore and so many more stories to tell.
Right.
What direction do you think he'll take next?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
What kind of roles do you see him tackling in the future? It's exciting to think about all the possibilities that lie ahead for such a talented and enigmatic actor.
Well, I think one thing is for sure,
Yeah.
we'll definitely be keeping our eyes peeled to see what he does next.
Absolutely, me too.